Alright kids, welcome back from spring break. I thought we would start off with a little review of some problems that we were doing before we left. So we're going to be on page 379 of the electronic textbook. On page 379, and we will be investigating work. Now, what is work? According to page 379 in the math skills problem. So we're going to be in the math skills problem. They're giving you the problem. Imagine a father playing with his daughter by lifting her repeatedly in the air. How much work does he do with each lift? Assuming he lifts her 2 meters and exerts an average force of 190 newtons. So they're giving us an equation for work equals force times distance. And in this problem, again, how much work does he do with each lift, assuming he lifts her 2 meters and exerts an average force of 190 newtons. So average force, this is a given. Average force equals 190 newtons. What is a newton? It's one of the units that we use to measure force. And it gives us a distance in this problem too. So the distance of each lift is 2.0 meters. Now, if work equals force times distance, and they're giving us force and they're giving us distance, that's going to be equal to 190 newtons times the distance of 2.0 meters, and that's going to be a grand total of 380 joules. That is my work. So let's go ahead and think through what this means for us for a moment. A little background. Background here. 1 joule of work. Joule is a measure of energy. So we measure work in units of energy. It takes energy to do work. So the concept of 1 joule being a unit of energy that we use to measure how much work is done, that kind of makes sense. It's a unit of force times distance. So 1 joule equals 1 newton. That's the measure that we use to measure force. You're seeing it in this problem here. Average force is 190 newtons times unit of force times what? Times the distance applied through, force applied through a distance. So 1 newton times a meter. Now, where I'm going with this is what makes up a newton. So this is a little bit of review. What is a newton again? What is a newton, Mr. Isaac? Mathematically, 1 newton is equal to 1 kilogram times what? Times a meter per second squared. Times a meter per second squared. And you might remember, meter per second squared is a unit of acceleration. So a newton of force is a 1 kilogram mass that is accelerating at a certain rate. So this here makes sense. That makes sense. Because force equals mass times acceleration. So let's start to put all this together. We originally set out to focus on reviewing work by taking a look at this problem that we've already done in class. So 1 joule is a unit of work, and this is going to be equal to a Newton meter. Newton is force. This is distance. And what is force again? Force is a mass accelerating. So now I'm going to go ahead and take this thing. This is my force, my 1 Newton. I'm going to say 1 joule is equal to 1 Newton meter, or it's equal to this thing right above, which is 1 kilogram times a meter per second squared, a mass accelerating through a distance. So we're going to times again a distance. And what does that end up equaling? It ends up equaling a 1 kilogram meter squared per second squared. So from all that, 1 joule is a mass accelerating through a meter if the mass is 1 kilogram. So let's write that a little bit cleaner. 1 joule equals 1 kilogram meter squared per second squared. This is a unit of energy. Also a unit of work.